So hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing great. So I was working on microservices and I got a chance to explore gRPC over there. So I just want to share like how I used gRPC there, and if you want to configure or use gRPC in these services, so how you can do that. So without wasting the time, let's begin with the video. So let's move to the computer screen. So here gRPC, what is gRPC? So like gRPC is an open source high performance framework where RPC is your remote procedure calls, and there is no specific justification for G because G stands for Google because it is developed by Google, but there is no technically specification like for G, and it is developed by Google and it is an open source. So it enables you to build scalable and efficient APIs which enables the communication between the different services. And your gRPC is well suited for the microservices and the systems where you require the low latency, high throughput, and where you want to just exchange the data in the real time. So there you can go with the gRPC. So here we have some characteristics of the gRPC. So like first is protocol. So what is protocol? Like protocol is basically gRPC is based on the HTTP2 protocol, which makes it more faster as compared to your REST APIs, where REST API is based on the HTTP1 protocol. If you talk about the serialization in gRPC, it uses the protocol buffers called protobufs as a serialization, which is very fast for the communication. And if we talk about the client server communication, like let me show you here. Like gRPC contains the 4 types of client server communication, where first one is your unary RPC. Like in unary, suppose you have one client and you have one server. Client is sending a request to the server and server is just giving a response back to the client. There is a one request will send to the server and one response from the server to the client. This is called unary. But if second is server streaming RPC, like here client is sending a single request to the server. Like here client is sending a single request to the server, but server is responding with a stream of messages. Okay, where server is responding with a stream of messages is called server streaming. But if we just reverse this, like stream of requests we have, okay, let me not change the actual here, let me paste here, only change this to requests. Okay, if your client is sending a stream of request and you are getting a single response only, that's called client streaming RPC. But if your client is sending a stream of request and it is getting a stream of responses, then it is called bidirectional streaming RPC. Okay. So these all are the like client server communication, or the 4 types of communication that gRPC supports. And the next one is code generation. So in gRPC you have the .proto files where you define the contracts or messages, we can say the contracts or like messages or the services which is responsible for, like with the help of those proto files, what you can do, you do not need to write the client and server code. It will be automatically generated for you by the compiler. So there it is a auto code generation for you. And another one is security. Like security, gRPC has a built-in support for authorization and authentication and encryption via TLS, which enables the secure communication. And if we talk about the load balancing and monitoring, gRPC also supports the advanced features of like your load balancing, retries, and your monitoring. Suppose you are working on a microservice architecture. For managing the microservices, it is very essential for monitor them and load balancing in a production environment. So it also has a support for load balancing and monitoring and retries as well. Okay. So what are the common use cases for gRPC? So here we have microservice communication. Okay, you are working on a microservice architecture where you want some internal communication. Suppose you are working on an e-commerce application. So something has been added to your cart, or your cart has been created with some products. Now you want to apply some coupons you have discount coupons. So for that you can write gRPC service over there, because you want a very high performance there. You don't want to wait user to get a coupon, that will take too much time. You want an instant apply coupon. Okay. And second is your mobile and IoT. Suppose you have mobile apps and IoT devices where you have very limited bandwidth. So for that scenario you can go with the gRPC. And the third one is real-time applications. Like in real-time applications is your chat. Let me write here, like real-time applications could be your chat application or your video streams, okay, or multiplayers game where multiple players are playing a game and streaming. Or we can write here multiplayer games. So for those scenarios you can use the gRPC. These are the common use cases. So before jumping to the benefits and drawbacks, let's talk about why protocol buffers when we already have JSON in the picture. So JSON is the text based format which is easily readable by human. It is human readable and it is easy to inspect and edit the JSON. Okay. But the second is larger in size. Suppose you have one JSON where let me write here, if I can, let me move to the code block. So suppose you here you have some name and name value could be Tim, okay, and I need comma, and here you have one ID which value could be 1. Okay, suppose you have this JSON here and you have multiple instances of this JSON below, like you have multiple names and IDs and JSON. So when you will serialize or transmit it, this will use these name fields like ID name, which will increase the data size, and you will parse that data size, which will be absolutely slower than the binary. But in the protocol buffers we use the binary format, which is much faster than the JSON. Okay, so here is a faster serialization, deserialization, like how it would be faster. So like here you are parsing the name and ID, but let me walk you through the like where we have the, okay, here do we not have, let me show you where we like how we parse those data in the, okay, let me walk you through that in the faster, how it is faster in serialization or deserialization and how in compact in size. So let's go here. Okay, so here this is the proto file. I'll walk you through with this complete proto file, so don't worry. And just consider this like in other languages you create a class or an object. So suppose this is your entity or class for a person. So can you imagine one thing, can you see the difference? Can you see the difference? Like in JSON we do not have any structured schema or type, but here in the protobufs we have schema, we have types like name I want as a string and ID I want as an integer, and this property I was a boolean. Okay, and if you noticed one thing here, we are defining these field numbers. So these field numbers, or we can say the tags, are the ones which makes it faster for the serialization, deserialization, or compact in a size. Like here we passed these field names, but in protobufs we pass these tags instead of fields. So these tags will be used there, which makes it less in data. It does not use more data, which is less in data. So that's why. And another, it is in the binary format, which is absolutely faster than your JSON. So that's why it is compact in size, and here is a faster serialization and deserialization. Okay, so now here are some benefits and drawbacks of your gRPC. Benefit, yeah, you know that it is a very high performance because it is using the HTTP2 and the protobufs, which is like you have a binary formats there. And second is a strong typing and automatic code generation. Like we see here, we have a strongly typed here name of a string and ID of a int, and auto code generation. Like And for the auto code generation, like you have to just write the contracts in your proto file, and there automatically server and client side code will be generated for you. And the next is a cross platform and language agnostic. So here cross platform, it is available on your Windows, Mac OS and Linux. And the language agnostic means it has a support for various languages, and here is not necessary that you have to write your server in one language, client and server both in the same language. Like you can see this diagram where your gRPC server is in the C++ and your like client is in Ruby, or it could be in Android, Java, or it could be in C#, anywhere. So this is language agnostic. It is not specific dependent on the any language where you have written the client, only there you have to write the server. Okay, so these were the benefits, and let's talk about some of the drawbacks. So for the drawbacks, less human readable, because JSON easily can be reached by the humans, but here the binary data, or we can here, because JSON is easily readable by the humans, but here we are defining the contract and services, so that is not readable by the humans easily because it parses in the binary format. And there is a limited browser support because gRPC is not fully supported by the browsers until unless you look for the workaround for that. So these are some benefits and drawbacks. So that was a brief about the gRPC. What is gRPC, why we need when we already have a JSON in the picture. So that was the brief about that. So in the next video, I'll walk you through with the code implementation, how you can configure the gRPC if you have a services, and how you can achieve the performance and all those. So let's see you in the next video. Bye bye.